Hello and welcome to the Impact Dynamics podcast.
I'm Andy Little.
And I'm Rusty.
We talk about rifles, PRS and equipment and how alcohol can ruin a podcast.
And tonight we're talking about PRS and shooting and Andy's attempt at doing so.
Woo!
Match director, mate. Match director. Hello, Andy.
Hooray!
Hooray. Hope that's enough.
We need your vote.
Now we've caught up to where we are on the podcast.
All right, go on back.
Roll the outro. Hello, Andy Little. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good. This is the latest I think we've ever started a podcast in history.
It's a late session, but there's a reason why.
There is a reason why. We're going to get into that a little bit later on in the show. We're also going to get into the PRS for 2022
Yes.
a little bit later in the show. But before that, before we get into all of that exciting detail, we're going to kick off with something boring, which I was going to throw to you about your match. But actually, I just realised we haven't introduced Josh. So hello, Josh.
How are you?
Hold on. This is not the boring part, but hello, Josh.
Yeah, I was going to say, nice segue.
Yeah, this was a bad
I reckon
segue.
I'll just be here quietly.
Hello. Hello, Josh. Thanks for pressing buttons and doing things. Yes, we are later than we normally would be. We've probably had a beverage or two more than we normally would have.
Yep.
But you shot a match last weekend.
I did shoot a match.
It didn't go great.
Whoa.
Okay.
Let's hold up.
Okay. Sorry, I don't want to give away the punchline. Ruining the joke.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with how it went, except for one stage.
Well, I wouldn't be. Okay, good. It was a centre-fire match at the club. There were 6 stages. You came second?
Second.
Okay, so fair enough. All right, I can see why you're not.
Let's say there were a few good, consistent shooters who weren't there, but still happy with how I performed.
So you weren't there?
Not all of me, no.
Not all of you.
Yeah.
All right, tell us overall, and then we're going to dig into the stage where you bollocksed it up.
Yeah, I really did. So, I mean, overall, I feel like I shot really well.
Who ran the match? Who was the dude?
Sean, I believe. It was Sean. Yeah, it was a really good match. The first match of the year for the club. So it was one of those matches that it's a really good starting point. Nothing too difficult, nothing too crazy or out there. But there were also a couple of stages that were tricky, like a little bit complex.
Yes.
So it was a really good, broad match, covered all skill bases and levels because we did have, some new guys there as well, which we have to accommodate for, which is great. And I'm pretty sure they enjoyed it too.
Good.
So it was a really good match. And Josh was there filming me in my glorious moments of messing up a stage really well.
You did that extremely poorly. I mean, messing up. Messing up well.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Shot the stage poorly. Tell us about the stage. We actually did a video on this, which is explains a little bit why we're so late, but we'll get into that in a moment. Tell us about how bad this stage went.
Yeah, well, it was a good stage in terms of fact.
Oh, the stage itself was
the
great.
stage itself was good, and I'm really keen to run it again to practice because you had 4 different targets, 4 different distances on one obstacle. Say it was steps.
Yep.
So you shot 4 different targets at different distances.
200, 300, 385 and 500.
Yes. Yep.
And at each distance you had 3 different targets, didn't you?
Yes.
They're reduced in size, yeah.
Reduced in size. So
I was paying attention to the video we did before.
Yeah, you were. Yeah. So
surprised.
The brief was you start port arms, you get onto one of the steps, your choice, any of the steps.
Okay.
You engage the largest KYL rack, KYL target on each rack at each distance.
Yep.
For one shot. Then you move steps. You re-engage the targets. You re-engage the smaller target.
The middle one.
The middle one.
The middle one. Yep.
At each distance.
I can see why you struggled here. Struggling talking about it.
Struggling to comprehend it myself. So another 4 targets, the different distances, and these were the middle targets on the KYL. Then move down to the 3rd step and repeat that process for the smallest target on each KYL. And my first shots, I started really solid, and I was like, "Yeah, this is sweet. Like that's I'm nailing it. Like got the first shots off, hit each target.
Yep.
And then I transitioned.
You did look good on those first 4. It was like,
"Yep,
you're all over this, man. You got this.
All over this." And then transitioned back to the 200-meter target. Shot the wrong target, and I was still on the first step. And
nothing counts.
Yeah, nothing counts.
Okay, you can recover from this. I'm confident in your abilities to be able to move on and let that error just let it drop past.
Now I'm pretty sure I then moved on to the second step and the second target, which then it's just second step, and we were shooting the 300-meter target. But I think I had not changed my dope.
Okay. Yep.
I believe so. Missed that target. I didn't see where the splash went because I was just Kerfuffled. Is that a word? Sure.
Sure. That's certainly how you felt.
Yeah. And then, so I checked
You identify as kerfuffled.
Yeah, that's it. And then, so I'm pretty sure in the video there's a good second there where I step back, have a look, and I have a think and a bit of a count of the targets and go, nah, I'm right. Okay, next target. And dialed the wrong dope, missed, shot over the top. So I think I dialed my 500 dope and I was on the 385 target. Just messed up.
Yep.
And then at that point I was at 500 and I was just like, just send it.
Just enjoy life.
Yeah, let's go.
Make noise.
Yep. So,
Okay.
And then I went back to the 200 meter for one shot, and I don't know where that went. Yeah. So, who knows what happened? Really, your guess is as good as mine.
Well, I got a fair idea what happened. You ruined your stage.
Yeah.
You ruined your stage.
Yeah.
It can be really challenging to sort of stop and just rethink everything, and because you feel like you're under pressure, and you'd be better off to sort of just stop, give yourself 15 seconds to just rethink, catch up. But you don't think about that in the moment. You think about that afterwards when some bloke's on a podcast telling you what you should have done.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I did take that second. I stepped back and I thought, okay, I'm on this target. This is my dope. Now I just shot that, wrong target, wrong dope. Now let's shoot this. But I think dialed the wrong dope.
Yeah.
And
Didn't go through it like a pre-shot process.
Yeah.
Didn't sort of reset. That's why those can be so important.
So I'll give
but
that
you enjoyed your match.
I did.
Enjoyed your shoot. Yeah.
Yep.
Lost
So-
the plushie.
Yeah, only by 3 points, and I'm pretty sure if I didn't stuff that up, I would have been at least level with him.
Yeah, but if he also shot anyway. So we filmed a video before for Impact Dynamics that's basically looking at a stage you shot and ruined, and a stage that I shot and ruined, and we explained why we ruined them and perhaps what people could do better. Josh, did you learn anything from that video?
I never do.
I can tell that. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey, we have a question on Facebook that I'm going to throw to you,
All right.
Andy. We've got it sitting over here. We've got a little screen to look at this time.
Fantastic.
Michael asked a big question.
I thought you said little question.
Yeah, I did. I lied.
Come on.
I stuffed up the stage. Big question is, to be fair, I don't think it's a big question, but
Okay,
here we are.
For the third time. Big
How
question.
much importance do you place in keeping the scope as low as possible on your PRS rig?
As low as possible, as into the bore
To
of
the barrel.
The
yeah.
barrel.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that critical.
I place zero focus, zero, what are the words? Importance, zero, none.
Yeah, no, none.
Yeah.
I understand that, yes, it looks slick and low profile, very streamlined.
Do you know where that theory, that idea comes from?
I'm presuming it comes from more of a hunting setup where people will have a 200 meter zero and their data would then appear flatter, would it?
I believe that dare say myth that you want to keep your scope as low as possible comes from when pre-optics, your cheek rest on a scope was always dropped lower.
Yes.
Right? And the idea being that your cheek would line up and look down the iron sights.
Yep.
Okay. And so you use those guns and then you would bring into the mix optics.
Yep.
Right? Optics is going to sit high.
Yep.
And
Now-
your cheek rest is going to be low, right? And so you're going to have to sit up. So the idea is bring that scope as low as you can so that you can try and mimic your position that you were in.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Nowadays, those cheek rests are higher because we all shoot scope. Many of us shoot scopes.
Yeah.
And you go to a gun shop and they're trying to get it as low as possible. I mean, there's a balance here, but low as possible. What I think is honestly much, much, much more important, particularly for PRS and long range rigs and all that sort of thing, is that you wherever your cheek rest may be it built up, be it adjustable, whatever it might be, is that you get down behind that gun. You open your eye and get on the gun like this.
Yep.
You open your eye up and you are looking dead straight through the scope. As long as you're doing that, everything else can be accounted for. You can put the data, the height between the bore and the scope into your software and that will just deal with it. That would account for it. It's really common for PRS guns to be 2 to 2.5 inches above that height. And so that's not out of the ordinary at all.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
And it doesn't make any issues at all, and I really, from my understanding anyway, that is where that myth has perpetuated and still is current, where people say, "Oh, no, you should go as low as possible."
Yep. So your head's not floating above the stock somewhere.
Yeah, and often people tell me, ask that, from a scope fitting point of view, I say, okay, why is that? And I'm yet to have a solid answer. I'm happy to be wrong on this stuff if people can tell me exactly what the reason is.
Yep.
But I do believe it's a bit of a hangover from that time. Now, I'm not saying you should mount it like 3 meters up from your, you want it sensible, but it's really about trying to get it as comfortable for that cheek rest. And if that is as low as possible, absolutely agree. Yep. But you really want it comfortable so you're looking through it straight every time.
Yeah. I might even, when I get home, run the numbers on my Kestrel, like with the same bullet profile, everything, put scope height at 3 inches and put scope height at 1 inch and run the numbers and see what it says.
See what it does.
I know that mine is quite high and I've got my cheek rest maxed out.
See, that might be starting to be a little problem because if you're maxed out and you've got nowhere to go on there, that you might be just like 3 millimeters short and therefore that might be a little bit undersized. But anyway, that's
and I will be.
That's limitation.
I do plan on getting a lower rail as well.
You got an angle grinder, you could fix it.
Yeah, easy. That's what I was going to do.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Problem solved. Problem solved. Let's move on. Sorry, what were you saying?
But yeah, like I'm going to drop mine a little bit.
Okay.
But not overly too much. Just because I do want a bit of flexibility where I can rise my cheek rest a little bit more. But I've still got plenty of clearance below my scope and above my what is it? Barrel, what's the thing on top? Barrel shroud to put my whole thumb. So I can rest my thumb in between the scope. So that way I feel like I'm putting center downward force instead of resting my thumb on the side.
Onto one side. Okay, very good. Hey, we had some new kit arriving at work this week.
Oh.
And I thought you might want to see it because you've got one right next to you somewhere there on the ground. And I've got one right next to me somewhere on the ground.
All right.
I believe if I'm correct, I've got the standard or the premium edition. You've got the ultimate edition. This is the Boscabel. I did say that right. Boscabel Bipods. These are Australian-made bipods. Oh, there's a killer sticker. That better go back in there. These are the Australian-made bipods.
Wow, that's a nice case.
No, that was the first thing I noticed when they came in.
Wow, packaging.
Oh, look at that. Is that the best packaging you've ever seen for a bipod in your life?
The best.
It is. I think so. Anyway, these are made out of WA, and these are, look at everything you've got. Wow. All right, this is the bipod here. So these are, crew out of WA.
What do I need springs for?
You've got springs, and you've got adjustable springs.
Wow.
So these are I guess you could call these a leveling bipod, where they will actually adjust. This little adjustment here, Andy, if you push that, if I twist that the right way, no, I've got to have it in the unlock position. You push it up, and they will shoot out, and they're under spring tension. You can adjust. So if you have your rifle on there, let me get these level. So you've got the adjustment.
I think I know what you're trying to put down.
Yeah. You can lean into it and get the thing level, and you can adjust that spring tension by changing your springs on how much pressure that is putting back into the bipod.
And they just lock in. Like you push down
wherever you like
and lock.
Twist the little arm around the leg, the little dial around the leg, and that will lock into wherever it is. And that tension you can adjust by changing your springs out. These are exceptionally well made. They've got a little lever for the cant option, and they're quick release Picatinny. Have a look at the quick release Picatinny. This is a little bit different to most. You try and undo that lever. It won't go anywhere until you press this little button on the side,
nice.
And that releases it. And they actually do an Arca one with the same locking mechanism.
Yeah,
I think that's quite cool.
I played with them the other day, actually.
You did?
That little mechanism is really nice.
Yeah, you want it on some camera gear.
I do.
Yeah, because it's super solid. So that's quite cool. And you've got the full kit. So you've got like 4 sets of feet.
As well as that, you got adjustable tension on the side.
You do, yes, you do. On this, back onto the Picatinny mount, you got adjustable tension.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, that was.
You got 90 degrees, 45,
and
straight 90. Yep. Well, yeah.
Yep.
0.
One of the things.
Whatever you want to call it.
You're good with numbers.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Fantastic. Yeah, they feel really solid. They feel good.
They are.
And
now,
they
the guys
lock
at
up.
Boscabel have suggested that these are probably more inclined to be hunting bipods.
Okay.
than competition bipods. But I don't know. They're pretty solid. So they actually will flex a little bit in the width of their legs, right? But not in a way that like is loose.
No, that's under spring tension somehow.
Correct. That is under tension. Maybe that's the spring that maybe he's tensioning all these springs.
How does this work?
How does it do it? It's magic. And so there's lots to play on with these. But you can tighten that up as well. That's what this other adjustment here is, how that spring tension is, I believe.
Nice.
You get in your full kit, you get, what is this? Oh, that's like a Picatinny sling stud mount. You get multiple springs.
It's got a good positive.
Like your springs bounce really, really well.
I'll spring into action.
You certainly do. I'm going to get one in your face in a second. Here we go. You've been sprung.
Oh, no.
I won't throw this one.
It's a really nice positive lock, though, that feel.
Speaking of throwing things at you, this one here is quite sharp, and I'm not going to throw this one out. Josh was hoping that he's like, oh, that'd make a great TikTok, but also we'd be in hospital tonight. Well, no, Andy would be in hospital tonight. That is really quite sharp. That's a great spiked cleat feet.
I really like that. I really like those feet.
Yeah.
Spring. Yeah,
It's good. And these,
That one you just had in your hand, they're surprisingly sharp too.
ow! Yes.
Ow.
Yeah.
You are correct.
I picked one of them up the other day and pretty sure I nearly cut myself.
Oh, my gosh.
Right. How do these undo? Maybe we shouldn't undo them.
You have to pull really hard.
I know what we shouldn't do is put them spiky
force
thing
it.
down on the table. That's what we shouldn't do.
And then push. Oh no, we've probably had too many rums to be able to complete this task.
Ow. I'm sure there's instructions somewhere, but
No, you just pull on it. You just pull on it, and but I don't suggest you try to put those. Yeah, that's it. That's how it works. Don't try and put those sharp feet on in your current state.
this is how
He says as he's currently trying to put it on in his current state.
This is how you die.
This is where my best work comes out.
Things
I really
shouldn't
like how
do.
that's like on a ball joint, so they swivel around.
So that's the
nicely.
feet that will swivel around and level out. Oh, don't do it on the table. Oh no, we're getting a new table. You're fine.
Are
We're
we?
getting a new bench top. Yeah, I didn't tell you that. Yeah,
nice.
We're getting a new bench top.
Sweet as.
It's going to be prettier and better and slightly smaller because this thing is huge.
I will appreciate that.
Fantastic.
I'm going to put that away.
Well, they're a solid kit.
Good old Australian-made stuff. Love it. Yeah. It's great. Excellent.
Very good.
Very
Impressed.
good, mate.
Allen
Impressed?
key,
We look forward to actually using one.
springs.
That will be good. I've got another recommendation actually. This is not bipod related. This is tripod related.
Okay.
This is a
Tripod.
work of art wherever I put it. Oops, look, we just lost our iPad that tells us how to run the show. Well, it's all right. It hasn't worked for 5 years. This is
What, the show?
correct. This is
Oh, dear.
baseball grip tape
Okay.
All right.
For your baseball bat?
for your baseball bat.
Yep.
That's right. And the announcement is tonight that we're actually becoming a baseball focused podcast.
Sweet as. What's
So,
baseball?
It's where you hit bases with a ball.
Okay, cool.
believe.
I can work with that.
Cool. All right. So this grip, I believe you. Feel how grippy that is. This is the whole
Oh,
point. I'll
gosh.
take your bipod. Right. Oh yeah, actually you packed it up correctly. Well done.
All the that's very
That is
rubbery
grippy, isn't
and
it?
grippy.
All right. Do you know where that goes without having seen where it goes already?
On a baseball
have
bat.
a guess. Have a baseball bat.
Baseball bat.
Where else could you use it that's perhaps more involved in the shooting community? Correct. On a tripod. This here is my tripod. And okay, this is a Leo Photo LN364. Have a feel of this leg here. That's just got a sticker on it. That's pretty
It's smooth. It's pretty smooth.
A little bit
Yep. If
slippery.
that gets wet, it's going to be slippery.
Cool. Now, this is a little bit of a rubber one that comes on the tripod on one of the legs.
That's really
grip.
good. Yeah,
That's
good,
pretty good.
Good grippy. Yeah.
Solid. I'm going to spin this round now to the baseball grip tape.
Oh gosh.
Tell me how comfortable and how grippy that is. That's not bad, is it?
It's very comfortable
That's
and grippy.
not bad at all.
It's soft to the touch, but it just doesn't want to let go.
Correct. That rubber I didn't ask about how was your Saturday night. I asked how the baseball tape was. Anyway, now I have to give credit where it's due. I saw this from Regina Milkovich. She had it on her tripod. So it's not an original idea. But I thought, well,
why not?
I'm in the US. They do baseball here. I may as well grab some baseball grip tape.
Yep.
And in all honesty, that is two things it does really well. One, super grippy, and you can get good control. So if you were to use this is not going to work on a podcast bench, but if you were to use this as like a rear support, you've got to get excellent grip, more than normal, more than anything else.
Yep.
And two,
that's
no one else is thinking that's their tripod, do they?
No.
That is definitely my tripod with a nice bright blue, weird camo-looking tape, unless someone else buys one and then goes and
does the same. I'll do the same.
You do the same. Here you go. You can have that one.
No, that's
no,
really,
that's for Mother League.
That's really good because it's like I know when I borrow other people's tripods and I use them as a rear support.
Yes.
And the back of the buttstock of your rifle is usually aluminium, and you're trying to push it up against there and clamp it, and you're like, oh, I hope I'm not scratching that tripod. But if it gets me points,
it's their problem. Yeah, that's it. So,
that's really good.
Anyway, that was a nice little find. I thought I'm going to try that, and I've tried it, and I don't believe I've shot with it. I've had it out, but I don't believe I've shot with it. So, we got to wait till we actually do it. But I figure if Regina's running it and it's working well, and I've tried it, it feels right. It's probably going to work well.
Yeah. Solid.
She shoots way better than any of us do. So it's all right. There you go, Josh. You can hold on to that for a minute.
I actually caught that.
I'm actually quite impressed. So, all right. Hey, Andy, I've prepared a little special surprise before we started getting into some other questions. But we got some really shooting reality stuff. There's a fridge behind you.
There
you go to the fridge.
Yes.
And at the bottom of the fridge, there's going to be a glass with a fairly dark liquid in it. All right.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I know. You're going to have to take your earmuffs off and you have to walk away, and I'm going to have to somehow find a way to entertain everyone. This could be challenging. Josh, speaking of entertaining, Josh, were you here when we tried to make these drinks?
I was.
Yeah, you had one of the results. Let's not spoil it.
No, I did not.
You did not?
No.
Smart.
You pulled out shots and I went, I don't do shots. And watched you drink it.
Okay. So, Andy, in front of you, all the springs, we'll put them back in. Andy, in front of you have a fairly dark liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah. We tried to make some particular shots that are quite like a crafty wanker level sort of looking thing. And it did not go brilliantly the first try. It didn't go great the second or third try either. But the first try was so bad we didn't even drink them. So we poured them into this glass.
A mix.
This is a mix.
Dear.
Otherwise known sometimes as rocket fuel.
I didn't realise this was two guys, one shot glass.
That's a big shot glass if it is. But there's Josh here as well, so I don't know what you're saying. What I'm looking for you to do is to be able to name the 3 beverages that are contained within that drink.
3. Are they diff oil?
They are not. They are sold at Dan Murphy's or other liquor stores, I guess.
All right.
You having a sniff? What does it smell like?
All right. I know it. I can't. Black Sambuca.
You have. Can you give me the brand?
Oh, jeez. Black Sambuca.
You're doing well. That's the type
brand,
of drink.
The brand of.
Yeah, which brand?
I don't know.
Okay, all right, fine. No worries. Cool. You've got one of the drinks. All right.
How much alcohol do you think I normally drink?
Well, let's find out. Let's find out. Now, so Black Sambuca, it is Opal Nero is the Black Sambuca
Never
taste.
heard of it.
All right. What are your 2 other?
Hey, that's not too bad.
It's not bad. Like,
that's
it's
not too bad.
It just wasn't what we're going for. It's not bad. Like, I'm not trying to kill you here. I'm trying to make you enjoy life. But Josh is disappointed. You wanted real good podcast ratings. Yeah, okay, that's a good sound to moist. That's a good sound to run with.
I really taste the tannins out of the barrel. Been oaking up for a while.
I don't know. Whatever you did before you got here, mate, I don't care. You do what you need to get ready for it.
Well, I just try and sound like I know what I'm talking about on a wine tour.
No one is is believing that. Righto. Can you?
There's a bit of a kick at the end.
Okay. Yep.
I'm thinking. I know you like your gin, so I'm thinking there might be a gin in there.
Gin's a very distinct flavour, though, isn't it? Gin is a very distinct flavour. Are you tasting gin? Because gin, you can't.
American honey.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Incorrect. All right, I'll give you a little hint.
All right.
Have a look around at the glass now that you've swirled a little bit. Is there any hint of any colour in that isn't black? Are you seeing any sort of colour presence in that glass? I can see it, but I know it's in there. So, is there a colour that isn't black?
Like clear.
Yeah, look at it. Look at the light shining off of it.
What are you talking about, mate? You've had way too much.
Yeah, probably fair enough. All right,
I'm cooked.
Okay, what's
vodka?
Vodka is in there
Okay.
because you can't taste it, and so it's a filler. So easy.
Maybe
easy
that
get.
was the kick at the end.
That was that was definitely the kick at the end. So black sambuca, vodka, and there is one more. Pass it over. Let's see if I can get the colour up on the sides for you. There you go. Did you see that? It's not quite black, but it's getting close to it.
It's like a blue.
Yeah, spot on. What is a blue? See, you see it on my hand. I've spilt it on it. There's a blue liqueur that this would be. Actually, that's pretty good.
Is it it's not triple sec?
It is not. That is clear. It is blue curacao.
Yeah.
Or however you say it. There's multiple ways to say that word. Anyway, there you go. That was our guess.
Well, that's not too bad.
Guess what's in the drink?
Like you could.
Well, there you go. Let's
You could get that down.
Well, we're about to. There we go. I'll pour half in there. You'll pour half in there.
Yep.
I'll just make sure mine's
We're both COVID free.
I am now. I'm immune for a while. Right. There we go.
Well, from the American variant, anyway.
From the Vegas variant. Yeah.
Well, cheers.
Cheers. Let's not smash our bullets together again in our glasses that your missus bought us the other week. Very
Hey,
good.
Good shout out.
Good shout out. That's it. No, we know where it comes from. All right. Hey, we still have PRS to touch on, and we also have something that happened to you tonight.
Well, other than going through my shooting videos and
critiquing yourself.
talking about that stuff, critiquing myself and reflecting back on my really poor performances, I've been asked to do some training.
For yourself to get better?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and for some others.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. Well,
no.
I hope they're not paying for it.
They'll be paying that for a long time.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, good. All right. Well, tell us about it.
Yeah, so our club wants to put together a little bit of training. We've been asked that there are quite a few people who want to get into the sport, want to know and learn more about, scopes, rifles, data, how to shoot off of, shooting in general.
And a list of excuses.
Yeah. And that's one of the first topics we cover. Excuses.
Yeah, that's right.
Let me know. I'll be there.
Okay. No, I thought you knew them all
I
already.
was going to say you can write the book on them, Josh.
Yeah, you've been listening to me the whole time. And yeah, this is sort of for the guy who's rocked up. He has a rifle, he has a scope, he's been out spotlighting, knows a little bit about shooting.
Yep.
Okay, how does this work? How does this scope work? How does this rifle work? What's data? What's and then
Data was a character from Star Trek,
data.
Next Generation.
And then we'll progress into positional stuff, stages,
Yep.
mental game preparation,
Yep.
All that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm at that stage where I've got to sort of figure out, okay, what am I going to throw in these courses and at what levels? So yeah, I'm for a beginner sort of course, you've just got your license, you've just picked up your scope, your firearm, the gun shop's zeroed or bore sighted it for you.
Yep.
What would be your top 3 things you'd throw into a beginner course?
For me?
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things, look, we can cover off. I'm gonna take. We could talk about fundamentals,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Which is super important.
There's a lot of stuff. Yep.
Yeah, but that almost sort of the fundamentals are the most critical part, right?
Yes.
You need fundamentals. So let's leave those as their own option.
That's a whole topic on themselves.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yep.
Fundamentals are sort of the first place to start. But in terms of actually taking that ability to shoot, which is where you need to spend your time first, to actually competing in a PRS match, because that's from what I understand of the training you're looking at doing is to taking guys from sitting at a bench shooting and hitting targets to playing PRS and shooting some matches.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the first things I see I've seen it countless times where someone will come out to the range and they're going to shoot their first match for the day. So they sit down at a bench in the morning. They've got about 3 or 4 hours to practice up and do that sort of thing. They sit at the bench, get behind a gun, and they'll shoot 150 rounds on a rimfire, let's say.
Yep.
And they hit all the damn targets or very close to all the damn targets that
Yes.
they're aiming at. And then they shoot about a match and they might get like two rounds off per stage. And what they didn't practice, and not to their own fault, what whoever was putting them through it didn't show them was starting from port arms, starting off the gun and building position. Because what's happened is they've got in position, it's taken them 10 minutes to do so.
Yeah, they're
and
comfortable.
they've stayed in that position for 50 rounds and haven't moved. And they've changed a mag out or whatever it is, but they haven't actually broken position properly. And then and they have, and then they've taken 10 minutes to get back on it.
Yep.
So one thing I do like to do is to go, all right, cool, great. You can hit your targets. Let's just start at, let's say we're talking rimfire.
Yep.
Let's start at 50 meters. All right, we're just going to shoot a nice big target at 50 meters. You're not going to miss this thing.
Yep.
But what I want you to do is to stand 2 meters back.
Yep.
And start, put the gun down, get behind there, build a position, away you go.
Yep.
And I have seen that doing that 15 times, 20 times, 30 times has taken them from getting, spending half the stage building their position to building that position from 45 seconds down to 15 seconds.
Oh,
now,
definitely.
The guys who do this extremely well will build that position 4 to 8 seconds.
Yep.
But 15 to 20 seconds allows you to actually play in a match.
Yeah.
So that would be my first. What about you?
Yeah, so I guess if we're looking at taking people who can shoot and know how to shoot targets at different distances and can engage those targets well at a bench, then definitely it becomes that positional movement, getting into position, a solid position, target acquisition, and then target transition.
Okay. Yep.
Because I think, once you've built like a solid, okay, that's the obstacle, that's the barricade, whatever, and you know the position you're going to get into, and you send those first 2 or 3 shots, whatever the stage is, now what?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's that bolt back, picking up the rifle, moving.
Oh, yeah, good call.
And doing it again.
Yeah.
So,
because you see that a lot with new shooters where they sort of shoot and then they go to move and they're like, oh, no, but like I just shot so that the chamber's got no live bullet in it.
Yep. Bolt
Which
up.
is, I understand, but that breaches the rules of how we transition.
For sure. So, so there's an aspect which I feel like should be sort of covered in every bit of training, which is, your general firearm safety principles.
Yeah. But in a more dynamic environment.
Definitely. Yeah, so you got your core ones, and then referencing that back to PRS and going, okay, in this competition style, any movement is bolt up, bolt back. You only load your rifle when you're told to by the stage officer.
Sure.
And start drilling in some good habits, I guess.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So a second one for me, and I know we talked about like someone who can shoot and who sort of has worked through the fundamentals. We're always all refining fundamentals, but someone who's sort of worked through them. One thing that I see often skipped and not covered is setting a diopter on a scope.
Yes.
All right, which I see so many guys get to like PRS national competition levels, and they've missed this point. And so this is when you get your optic. Let's say like a common scope will either have so you've got parallax adjustment. Some of them will be parallax fixed at say 100 yards or 50 yards for rimfire stuff, and then some will have adjustments. And either it's on the ejective bell and you turn it around, or it's on the side. Some colours, ones will have it on the top, but you've got sort of some way of adjusting this parallax. And people will call it focus because that's sort of the side effect of what it does.
It's often referred to as focus, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. Which is fine. But there is 2 things that play here, right? Your reticle focus is separate to your actual sort of downrange focus, let's call it.
Yep.
And so many people will, and your eye is quite good at making up for one or the other. So if you've ever had that situation where you're looking through your scope and you're like, what I'm seeing downrange is clear, but the reticle seems out of focus.
Yep.
And so you shift your eye's focus to the reticle. And then the reticle seems clear, but downrange seems a little bit out of focus.
Yep.
And then you look downrange, you go, no, that is actually clear, but my reticle seems focused. And then you look back again and you go, oh no, my reticle is clear, downrange.
Yep.
These things don't line up. And then what's happening there is that your focal from your parallax adjustment, your focal point is actually working for downrange, but your reticle is out of focus, and the part that controls that on most scopes is your objective. That's the right at the back, the part that you look through. There's either an adjustment right there, or the whole rear, like on a Night Force scope.
Yep.
The whole rear adjusts, or for several of the Night Force scopes and other brands.
Yep.
That whole rear adjusts, and so many people don't take the time to set that up, or they don't do it quite right, and therefore what's happening is your eye is actually adjusting to make up for the difference, and that's why when you look at one that focuses, and the other one looks a bit odd, and then you look back and you put your focus on the reticle and your eye fixes it, and you're like, oh, this is all right. So one of the things that we try and get people to do when we set up a scope for them or something is to look at something that has no detail in it. So a grey sky is really, really good for it. A blue sky is really good for it. Something that your eye's not going to be distracted. Wind your parallax around to infinity to sort of take that out, or if it's a fixed parallax, then so be it.
Yep.
And what you're looking for is you pull your gun up with your eyes closed, and then you open your eye. Your eyes, generally the younger we are or the better eyes we are, so perhaps not me, and Josh is just about to get glasses, so perhaps not him. But for those who have really good eyes, your eye, even if you've got glasses, your eye is going to fix that focal error very quickly, right? So you are looking for that very brief moment where you look at your reticle and it just looks a little out and then goes crisp. If it's a little out, that's a problem. Wind your diopter adjustment forward, back, whatever it might be. You do it roughly so it looks about right, and then you close your eyes, open it up. There's a little bit of adjustment.
And you're talking like the first half a second your eyes open, like less.
Less, half a second or less.
Yep.
Yeah, because what's happening is you don't want that strain on your eye, because if your eye is having to fix the problem, it means it's changing itself, which means when it looks down range, it's going to sort of compound this problem.
Yeah.
And if you've ever, and this is certainly my experience, if you've ever gone out shooting for a day and you've been out there for a good 6 hours, 8 hours, and you start getting headaches or eye strain or fatigue, that is so commonly your eye. And so by spending, and it could be, honestly, 10 minutes getting that diopter dialed in, particularly the ones that lock and don't change, that is so worth that 10 minutes.
Oh, definitely.
And then once you've done that, whatever's downrange focus, that parallax adjustment's gonna keep that in, but your reticle's always gonna be crisp. And honestly, if you like you do, you might go and get your eyes checked every 2 years or 3 years or 6 months, Josh.
28 years.
And so you're that old. Wow, wouldn't pick that. All right, and so you go and get your eyes checked every whatever it is. Same with your diopter. Check. Get just from time to time, keep a check on it, because your eyes will degrade. Generally, they don't usually get better.
No. It is something I need to check, because I've recently got glasses for up close stuff.
There you go. You and me both. Look at us go. I mean, I actually had them for a few years, but I didn't ever wear them. So, and now I'm wearing them every day except tonight.
Oh, there you go.
Probably because I'm just too embarrassed about them to wear them on a podcast.
Too many drinks.
Correct. I don't even know where they are now.
We don't need glasses. I mean,
can't see you anyway. Wouldn't help.
But yeah, it's a similar situation to binoculars.
Yes.
Like you'd realize how many people don't know that a binocular has two focus sort of settings.
One of them on one of the eyepieces, and then one as a center.
Yeah, that's it. So to set up a pair of binoculars properly, you close one eye, the one that's doesn't have the separate one, focus that in, and then you focus in separately the other eye.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's handy to know.
So that's that's my number two. Have you got number two? I mean, this far out. If we start spending that much time on each point, there's some real key things that people miss.
I'd say probably a step before positional movement, that sort of thing.
Yep, we're jumping all over the place. It's fine. Whatever. It's our podcast.
Yeah, but like sort of keeping in line with, the scope. You got parallax, focus, and diopter. Making sure that people understand. Okay, what does 1 mil represent? What does 1 mil look like at 100 meters, at 500 meters?
Yep.
Just understanding a bit of that.
Yep.
And then again, skipping, probably trigger pull and follow through.
Yep. So we're back into fundamentals, but
we are, aren't we?
No, which is okay. Because often there's some fundamentals, but there is no reason not to go back and review them. And there's some fundamentals that that start playing a bit more of a role, or are quite often easily missed or easily skipped. And if we watched a few videos tonight and gave commentary on those videos, and I tell you what, trigger pull got mentioned more than any other fundamental. Or follow through as well as part of that sort of process for guys who are, we would dare say, all experienced shooters. Much to perhaps our embarrassment, that was regularly a problem.
Yeah, it always pops up, especially when the stage isn't going right, or under stress, and it's like, oh no, just send it.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Absolutely. Okay. I've got a third for that. So if we're going to move from really beginner to perhaps someone, maybe you talked about running 2 classes.
Yes. Yep.
So the first one for really fresh guys,
Yep.
which is great, and then guys who are perhaps a bit more experienced.
Yep.
I really think that there is a lot to be said for stage prep.
Yes.
And so I think that the IPSC guys do this really well. And I think good PRS shooters do it really well as well.
Yep.
And that is sort of dissecting the stage, looking at what, we get your stage brief. Perhaps you've looked at your matchbook before. Some guys prefer doing that the night before. I can't do that the night before. I'll forget all of it by the morning. And so you get your stage brief and then just logically thinking through the steps. Josh, you've had a bit of experience, both good and bad, on this side of things.
Yeah.
What have you learnt in your 18 months-ish of hanging around the sport as a cameraman / I kind of would like to shoot from time to time?
In terms of in general stuff or like stage prep?
Stage prep sort of stuff.
Read the book, read your stage brief.
Yep. Or ask questions.
Yeah, and if you don't understand it, while RO's there, just rattle off all the things that you don't quite understand. Like, ask the question rather than just sit there and go, I'll just watch a few people, because
that's it.
So often that you watch a few people and you might just not quite get it.
Yep.
And it's just that 30 seconds at the start just to be like, what was that 100-meter target on the right?
That's it.
Just to go, cool, that's the IPSC. Just to take that time to get it. And I know I've often missed a lot of things just filming in that I'll film stuff and then it's just like, quick, grab a gun.
And you'd be out of whack or out of order.
Yeah, out of whack, out of order with the targets and stuff.
And I think one of the things that I want to sort of hang on is that stagecraft, they call it in IPSC, right?
Yes.
Stagecraft is can be very personal. Right, so the way you would look at a stage and decide how you're going to shoot that, maybe we would end up at the same structure of how we get to approach a stage, but the way we communicate that to ourselves, which sounds odd, but the way we would break that down in a way that we would understand it might look different. So I will often use a wristband card that I'll have on my wrist, and it will tell me this target and then do this, and then this target from here. I might draw a picture of the barricade. I might draw a picture of the shape of the target.
Yep.
I'll do a very visual thing. And so and a very step by step. And so the idea is that I don't have to remember anything about what I'm about to do.
Yep.
What I need to do is look at my chart and go, right, square target from the staircase.
Yep.
Right, and the third step. So I might write third staircase, or like third and draw the staircase. And so I will go ahead and do that. And then the next one down there. Now, I gave that card to someone else and they'd be like, what is this junk?
I guess I can personally attest to that in that I've watched you do a stage with that card and then, 2 people after you, I've been filming and just gone, cool, I'll just jump off and use that card.
Yeah.
Because it's all been written, and then get there in the moment, look down and I'm like,
what does this mean?
I have no idea what any of this means.
Yeah.
What am I shooting? Because that doesn't make sense for how I think.
And I actually think the point that I pick up that stage the best is when I'm writing it. Because you go through that cognitive sort of process of like converting this text written in front of you on the matchbook or what you heard and the notes you took to something that means something to you. But you're right, you put it in front of something else and they're like, what is this rubbish? And I will, and you'll write it and you'll be like, this communicates to me really well. And I think that self-communication.
Yes.
Because what we're trying to do is you're trying to tell yourself a message when you're under more pressure.
Yeah.
And so you need to know what that means.
Yeah, it's what makes sense to you.
Yeah, and some dudes, and I've certainly seen it, they remember that extremely well. And that is how, if they wrote it down, it would fall apart for them because they would get lost in their notes. They need to they need to do visualization. So they'll go through the process multiple times over in their mind. I move here, I shoot 2 shots on these targets. I move to here and I shoot them. They play that through in their mind.
Yep.
Like they're watching a video. I've tried it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I noticed that on the weekend at the range was even people just getting in the motion of doing it and being there and going, all right, get down into this position, and they'll almost mentally run through it.
Correct.
Even physically and shutting the bolt trigger, shut the bolt trigger.
Yeah.
And I've seen a few people on the weekend. I was like, interesting.
And that's what I think is that there is no wrong answer to that,
No.
but it's a matter of experimenting and finding what works for you. And some stuff does not work for me, and some stuff does work really, really well.
Yeah.
And leaning into that and doing it every time. That's the biggest thing.
That's it. I do find on my data cards, I used to put down a lot of information. Mm-hmm. So I'd put down target distance, the elevation, the wind, and the target shape. And you look at that on this tiny little card and you're like, oh, there's so many numbers.
Yes.
And now, depending on of the stage, instead of putting down the target distance, if the target is close enough, say it's a 230 meter target, I'll just put the number 2.
Yes.
If it's a target at 420 meters, I'll put 4.
Yep.
And then just the elevation I need. I'm not referencing 430 meters is this elevation. It's just target at roughly 400 meters is this.
See, I've got a target I can draw on. So I draw my drops under there.
Yep.
And then I would write the 2 and that sort of thing, but with no elevation on my sort of guiding card.
Yeah, true. Yep.
Yeah. So that would be probably my third thing that would be covered, but that's perhaps a step up from there. And that has that's certainly, it's one of those ones where you apply it, and I've found it being super useful.
Yep.
And when you don't apply it, it's what burns you.
Yeah, definitely. Like I do, do try and take the time before I shoot to, when someone else is shooting the stage, is run the stage through my head while they're shooting it. So beep, get down this position, 2 shots, this target, okay, transition, this shot, this target, and get on the binos and watch it and sort of, target identification, spend the time to look at the target so you know what you're looking at.
Yes.
Instead
these are areas that I need to work on. For sure.
Right.
Yeah, there are areas that I know I'm not good at.
But so I feel like those sorts of topics are getting more into the, more the intermediate sort of, progression.
One more from you, or was that your one more?
Oh, sure. Why not?
Sure. One more from you.
I'm full of wisdom.
Good.
Oh, geez. Oh, you know
full
what?
of wisdom. Full of wisdom.
Full of wisdom.
Yeah.
Make sure you top up your mags.
Oh.
I think there was a
Yes.
stage.
Josh.
Yes, 100%. And if you're borrowing someone else's gun, make sure that mag is full when you leave it.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that I recently put up a video of doing a mag change. I'm pretty sure there was only 8 rounds in that mag. I'm like, close the bolt. That feels very empty. So, yeah.
Okay.
Hot tip for you.
Hot tip. Nice, man. Nice. So speaking of hot tips, hey, we've been mentioning that we're going to talk PRS about this. So, look, Precision Rifle Series has taken a battering over the last couple of years with COVID.
Yes.
We 2019, end of 2019, we had a bit of a change of sort of leadership with PRS, and we're really excited for 2020 season. We kicked off some matches. We were about to, and then like 2 weeks prior to Mildura, the C word happened.
Yep.
And we had to cancel it, and then we had to cancel the next one, and then we pulled the season. And we were all locked down, all that sort of thing.
And we got our hopes up again.
And then we were like, we're going to do this. And then we did our first match, and the Queensland crew, some of the Brisbane-based crew couldn't come.
Yeah.
They were banned from travel. But we're like, that's right. We're hopeful. We fell around the first match. It went well, good. A little bit of shaky ground because it's been a little while.
Yep.
And then that was it. Went over to Mildura and got caught, and went over to where was that other one we went to? Buchan. We got caught there, and anyway, so we just demoralised. But you know what? The definition of insanity is doing the same things and expecting different results.
Yep.
We're certified insane because we're trying it again.
Doing it again.
But to be fair, it is looking better. So
yes.
we're recording this on a Friday. Probably by the time this podcast comes out, there would have been the first half of the season announced in terms of dates with regular plus one new match in that first half of the season.
Fantastic.
There will be some announcements for remainder matches. Just these things are tentative, very tentative at the moment.
Yep.
There is changes and such. But we are super hopeful for the first match to be running the first weekend of April. The second match to be running the last weekend of April, and then we'll be kicking off into the year with a very similar sort of. I'd have to double check. Depends on a few things, but somewhere in that vicinity of 7 to 8 matches for the year.
Wow.
Which is good. So PRS will be back. It is looking good. Borders are open. Sorry, WA. I'm really sorry. I'm very sorry, but it's your own doing.
It's your own fault.
We can't do much about that. I'm sorry. But it is looking good at the moment. There is, the reality is that there will be individuals that will be affected and unable to come and that sort of thing. But we hopefully won't have those whole en masse states or areas or locations that are sort of shut down or unable to travel. So it is looking promising. It is also looking promising for us to be able to send some crew over to the US finale.
Oh, wow.
Because international travel is open, as I have proven, not successfully, mind you, but I have proven you can go into.
It was worth the risk.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So if you do go, if you are lucky enough to qualify to go to the US and shoot the finale, book out 10 days when you get back, or maybe 7 if you're on the East Coast.
Yep.
And book out some time, actually everywhere except
just recovery time.
Recovery time. Yeah, correct. Recovery time. And then if you're locked up, then so be it.
Yeah. I must say the recovery time from Darwin was awesome.
Yeah, you were there for 3 days or something.
Yeah, 3 or 4 days. We didn't want to leave by the end of it.
You guys barely wore clothes. And then, so it is looking promising.
It's looking good.
Tentative. I'm nervous. We've been twice bitten, twice shy, but you know what? People want to go and shoot, and we want them to go and shoot.
Well, you got to be in it to win it.
Exactly right. So it is looking good. So stay tuned for an announcement. There is, for all the cool kids who are up to the latest of things.
Is that me?
No, talking to Josh here. There is a Discord server for Precision Rifle Series Australia.
Okay.
It's not big enough yet to be able to find it, but there will be links floating around the PRS pages, and we'll share them out and stuff to be able to jump on there and so be able to, if you're into Discord, and even if you're not, probably a good platform to find out. There'll be audio there'll be calls and Q&As and all that sort of stuff all through Discord. So stay tuned, check that out, that it's going to be a really good place to connect this year for it.
Yes, sweet.
And let's look forward to a promising match or series of matches for 2022. What do you reckon, Andy?
I'm stoked.
You stoked? Getting out there, having a crack?
Yeah.
Shooting some targets?
Sending some rounds.
Showing
how show the interstate boys how we roll.
You do what you need. I'm sure a few of them, especially now there's a club up and running in Sydney with a solid amount of turnout.
I reckon they're going to be. I think some of those boys have been training very hard, and I feel like I might get a shock.
I think you will do fine, but I also think there are going to be some unknowns that perhaps we're not super familiar with the names because what are we back to 2019? That's like 3 years ago.
Yep.
We're gonna have some people that we haven't met yet.
All the young guns coming up
and shooting really well, and there's going to be some people who don't shoot really well because Josh's going to be there, and I'll be there as well. So we look forward to meeting a whole stack of people. PRS is coming back. Very excited about that. It has been later than we would have liked, but it is what it is, and that's the circumstances we find ourselves in. It's been very tentative decisions to make, but here we are. Let's get around it and go for it. So we'll keep you updated with everything that's going on, and I think we've got previews and reviews of all the matches planned.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We'll certainly talk about that. So that is where we're looking, man.
Very good.
Excited?
I am stoked.
Cool. Well, we've basically finished whatever that concoction of drinks are.
Almost.
So it is time to call an Uber, and we shall get out of here. Yeah?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds good. Catch you, Andy.
Bye.
See you later.